the most amazing Monday night. Once again, 3D Politics Live. I'm Tom McKay, your amazing host, right here with two of the most amazing Davids in the state of Oklahoma. We're missing Dan Broso, but I've got David Van and David Oldham right here just to get this out of the way. David Van, SoonerPolitics.org. Yes. David Oldham, you're going to find him at constitutionalgrounds.com, and me, of course, Tom E. McKay at Twitter. Hey, we've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. We're going to go as fast as we can and try to wrap it up as quick as we can. One of the national stories we have is Obama talking to what is known now as the cancel culture. Yeah. And so he said something about the idea of purity, and you're never going to be compromised. You're always going to be politically woke and all that stuff. You're going to have to get over that.
Well, I think it was the trying to call everybody else out for every infraction of grammar and pronouns.
This is the cancel culture.
Well, that goes even further to the point where we got destroy their careers. That cancel.
Yeah, well, not only that, but destroy all the iconography of the, of history, destroy history.
Yes.
Wipe it off because as though it never happened, and let's just forget all the lessons we might learn.
Do you guys remember in the beginning days when we were going to war against the Taliban in Afghanistan? They talked about just how barbaric these people were, and probably the height of their barbarism, if you will, was that they destroyed all of these great statues. The Buddhist
iconoclasts.
Monk, yeah. And
carved in the side of the mountain.
Barbaric, uncivilized iconoclasts.
These, great landmarks, and they destroyed them because in their quest for religious purity, we couldn't have that. And I thought we would never do that in America. And what did we do to every Civil War monument now?
Right.
I don't know if there's any of them left. I don't know.
They even wrecked the sound at a recent GOP.
Yeah! How dare you!
So Obama said, and it's so presidential, he said, quote, like, if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, he said, then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out. And this was Obama's quote to try to tell people, just by sitting at home and tweeting, Tom, that's really not changing anything.
Exactly. I thought it was an excellent deal. Now, this conference was put on by the Obama Foundation, and it was devoted to youth activism. And I thought it was a perfect place to steer the young people and say, hey, there's activism, and then there's just being a jerk.
Yeah, but it's Obama. And so it's not like he's not speaking out the other side of his face, because he's the one who helped start a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, but he said something. Yes. He said something early on. He said, life is messy and it's full of ambiguities, and there are going to be people that you may be in disagreement on, but hey, they love their kids. And you'll find, if you go way back, there's something I've always said about Obama, is that he set a good example as a role model, a father, to his children. In the context.
You're like a mafiosi.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's going to pull David out of this one?
I will stand by it. When it comes to just...
John Gotti loved his son, too.
Right.
I saw the video.
Plead your case, man.
That when it came to raising those kids right, being a dad who's there for his kids, who was there you look back, go back to Chicago, you go back to all the other things he's done. And, when it comes down to it, his parenting skills, nobody seems to have a problem with, and I don't either.
Well, like I said, the problem is Obama himself.
I understand.
Saddam Hussein raised a couple kids. The mafia, they've got kids that they've raised. They love their kids.
To fundamentally change the greatest nation in the world onto a wrong path. There's no way
to raise your children.
And let me quote Bill Bennett on this. He says that when the microphones When I know. I don't mind you ganging up as long as you don't keep cutting me off.
All right.
All right. So that when the microphones weren't on, the big national media press corps wasn't there, Jesse Jackson would go into these churches and he would start talking about living right and keeping your family together. And there was a lot of good things. And Bennett would say, if he would say those things when the National Press Corps is there, Bill Bennett said, I'd vote for him. Because there is a solid message that even our more liberal friends sometimes get right when it comes to parenting. And so this is the point that he brings out. Obama says there's people that, you might not agree with them, but yet there's some things you're going to agree with them on.
Yeah, it's expedient for Obama, though. That's the problem here, because what has happened is they have gone too far. He's just trying to rein them in a little bit to keep a measure of credibility to what they're doing.
Exactly.
It is nothing
His
to do with anything
was
good.
based on a fraud.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a criminal. He's
criminal.
he's one of the biggest criminals.
How can you defend a criminal, man?
I can defend his parenting skills if his parenting skills deserve defending.
Well, the thing is that
he named her Malia. Can't you sue him for that?
But
I'm not touching that.
Here's the thing. What is your response every time I bring it up? Is you talk about his policies. Policies.
What is he teaching his kids? He's teaching his kids those things. He's teaching them to be just as unconstitutional and criminal as he is.
Okay.
That I have every problem with.
Wow, we have opened up an entirely new can of worms. I'm Tom McKay, your host. This is David Van and David Olden. Go!
Yes. If you're a liberal parent, if you're a socialist advocate, but you still teach your kids how to obey, how to do their work, how to be responsible, how to follow
then you wouldn't be a socialist. Because socialism is to teach your children to steal from others. That is the lesson. Because that is socialism.
Yes.
Okay.
That yours is mine if I want.
I'm desperate to help you find a way to protect a guy I don't like based on his parenting skills.
Okay.
Obama's an amiable guy. He's likable person.
Well,
The point is he is a blight on America.
Okay.
And
he's a fraud. He's fraud.
I don't see any way to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know how you can suggest that being a total fraud is any way to show be good a parent. I mean, that's not a good parent.
Again, we all have really bad things in our life and really good things, except this guy, of course.
But
my point is the areas where you can come to an agreement.
Yes, that he stayed home and watched TV with his kids and spent time with his kids. That was good and what parents should be doing. I agree with that much of it. But that's as far as it goes.
I do not know what happened to the Braveheart meeting we had before this. You guys are so nice.
But Obama, in his speech, and Tom, I don't know if you have the whole thing here, but early on, he talks about, the people that, are on the other side. He's referring to conservatives. He said they love their kids too.
That's what they said in the racial arguments with LBJ, and somebody came to the living room and was like, you know what, those black people love it. This is absolute sheer racism. It's a play to the middle.
What is racism?
I don't
this idea that they love their children true is a harken back to a racist comment.
No, I think
okay. Let's not. Go
there. I said it in.
Let's not go there because what it
that
is,
they love their children too. That is definitely
what it is a divide. There's an obvious divide. Let's acknowledge the divide, and they're trying to bridge the divide. But you have criminal theft. Criminal theft by government under color of authority in large part instituted by this man, and he's trying to separate us
The
down on the
problem
other
here's
side.
his
is,
quote.
Van is going out of his way
legit.
to try to say something nice about Obama.
Here's what
And
I'm
we're just
saying.
tearing him down.
I pointed to the one thing here. He said, now this idea of purity, and if you never compromise, you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that real quickly. And he said, the world is messy. There are ambiguities. He said, people who do really good stuff have flaws. He said, people who you are fighting may love their kids and share certain things with you.
Right.
And this is my point, is that even with some of your biggest enemies in politics, you may have things that you can come together on. And for that, you should always be able, and not totally write them off, because you have to look for your allies.
Fool
Well,
me once, etc. The guy has lied before.
Okay,
This
here's the
idea.
thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
I
David
mean-
David has a point, but it's so convoluted to try to get there from this. And
like
here's
giving
and here-
Satan.
Okay,
But
get
here's
there
the-
for me faster than I can.
Here's the problem. There are constitutional issues that are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
Oh.
And those, Obama is, in this speech, trying to meld into the political issues which government can actually deal with. Those are where we
All right.
have our political fights. But the
Hold on.
non-negotiable is what he's trying to get everybody to accept as negotiable, and that is off the table, done, no way, no how. Now, I will try in getting them to come around. I will work with them.
Gotcha.
But it's still non-negotiable.
Is he making sense, Dave?
Yes, and let me elaborate on that point of it coming around. They're not going to come around on all issues all at once. You're going to take them one at a time. The fellow that got in your face at Veterans Park, Frank Grove, he and I have worked on drug policy reform
He
big
can
time.
be reasonable.
Okay, on
No,
that
he's
issue.
not.
No, stop.
He
Stop.
wasn't.
Stop.
Oh my God!
On one issue, I was able to get something accomplished teaming up with him on an area we agreed on.
Okay.
If we moved the ball forward, we didn't get the touchdown that David wants on it, but again, we're moving the ball forward. Now we're at a point where it doesn't look like we're going to be doing so much together. But again, you look for those opportunities, because 57% is just a little more than 50%. Okay,
This is the incremental versus.
No. The problem is it's like when you're fourth down and 18 and you throw a 3-yard pass.
Oh, flag on the
Okay,
play.
and well, the point is, you got to get 18, and you didn't go for it, and he never would. He was never even willing to try to go for true liberty.
who's he?
Obama.
Grove.
Frank Grove. Okay.
And Obama is just
Obama
an enemy of liberty.
Well,
just an abject enemy.
The area that you're trying to find agreement with Obama, Van, is an area where he's never been consistent. The police were dumb.
No.
etc.
No. That's not what I'm agreeing with him at all.
Okay.
At all.
Fix it.
I'm talking about when you've got an area where you do have share common values by the way you behave in your daily life. And sometimes it's personal life. Sometimes it's family life. And that you've got to look for opportunities. Sometimes it's even when you share a common struggle, like I do on the mental health thing and getting involved with people. I mean, I'm impacting families of all political persuasions, all religious persuasions.
Because we're Americans, we're
The
not.
busted clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, and so I am just saying on a number of things, like what happened a few years ago, we were fighting some taxes at the state capitol, and we had a bunch of Democrats allying with us. They didn't like those taxes either.
Yeah, we did that
locally
too.
Right, and so you look for your opportunities to build coalitions, and sometimes they're going to come from the most unlikely places.
Stalin.
And
We teamed up with Stalin.
I mean, come on. The point is, though, as soon as that particular issue was gone, they were back to being themselves. The same old. And there was no more working together.
Okay, that's your point. My point is you had an opportunity, even though it was very limited, but you scored on it.
All right. Great job, guys. We know that this is never ending. You got to hold the line, and then you also have to work with your opponents. So, again, I'm Tom McKay. I got David Oldham here with 3D Politics every Monday at 7 o'clock. Don't you miss it. And we're moving on to Representative Jason Lowe's district. This has to do with constitutional carry. Looks like News Now, OKC, had a video rolling while conducting an audit of the First and Second Amendments. Those rights in central Oklahoma City on Saturday. Among the locations they traversed was a faith community, which was meeting during their Sabbath. I'm going to ask you guys for a minute, but it sounds like they just walked into a church with a gun. We'll find out. Publisher Tim Harper sought a discourse with the worshipers. Hey, guys, let's talk about guns. Something about a recent traffic stop in which an individual refused to acknowledge municipal police authority. Wanted a sheriff instead of the regular, and something about a black Hebrew Israelite group.
That's who they were. That was the group meeting on their Sabbath. It was some black Hebrew Israelites, or at least they identified themselves as such. And so there was somebody standing outside the door of their, kind of a storefront worship center.
Oklahoma City.
Yes, and at near 23rd and Martin Luther King Drive. And Jason Lowe, who actually was the black lawmaker and attorney who fought tooth and nail every which way he could to stop this law from going into effect. And
it's his district.
Right, yeah. So Tim Harper, who we've talked about before, when he does what he calls First and Second Amendment audits, his audits doesn't mean he gets out pencil and paper and adding a sheet. It means he goes out and sees if his rights are actually going to be respected in public and by police and by communities.
So News Now OKC is Tim Harper.
That is his outlet, yes. Right. And so, sure enough, he and a couple other guys, Adrian Otap, who's a friend of ours from OTU, was along rolling film and our video. And sure enough, they come up there and they wouldn't let him inside the temple. They said, hey, you need to get off the property. So he stepped back about 20 feet to the sidewalk because it was a storefront with parking, right up against the building. And sure enough, within about 3 minutes, holy smokes, about 8 squad cars show up.
They did.
And everybody remained calm. Everybody remained polite. Everybody remained very much respectful.
Mostly. There was a few choice words from the police officer who was handling the issue.
Well, it does say here from Sooner Politics, the worshipers, all men, told Harper to leave the property, and Harper promptly complied.
Yes.
Several municipal police responded to the scene and stayed present while a determination was made as to where the public right-of-way ends and the private property begins.
Yeah, because here's the thing. The cops will record that they notified you that you've been told, do not trespass again. And in doing that, they have to clearly delineate where that property line is.
Right.
And they went to great pains to say, you see that crack where the pavement is kind of shifted in that's between the old slab of their driveway parking and where the sidewalk used to be that they just paved over the whole thing.
It's like that episode of Ace Ventura.
Yeah, exactly. and so everything went fine. Here's my question. Suppose it was, that we flip it around and a bunch of folks from this district here, Jason Lowe and some of his buddies, or let's just say it's some guys from the hood, decide they're going to come down to, or go up to Nichols Hills and go walk in the streets. What would you guess some of the fine ladies of the Bridge Club to react?
I think we would find out who's racist.
Yes, we would. And so, my suggestion is, Tim, you've got a lot of friends of all different colors and shades of beige. I'd say get yourself a posse that is a good cross-section and do this some more.
Well, actually, I think he had somebody that was black with him.
You had an Asian guy, Adrian Otap.
No, there was another guy in some of the pictures that was.
They met up with a couple of homeless guys 3 blocks down. In fact, Tim Harper gave some money to one of the homeless guys.
Yeah, no, but there was something else, and I thought that he was part of the crew that went there, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, it should not matter if we are Americans, all of us Americans, free Americans. Then there's no place for the whole racist thing.
Yeah.
We should be. I mean, that's part of what we should be auditing is how well we get along with each other.
And that's probably one of the best things. Do you recall a group called Oath Keepers, Oldham?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Oath Keepers. There's a lot of former military, and there's law enforcement that join it, and they allow other people too. But it was really started by them, and they're really focused on protecting our constitutional rights. That's why they're called Oath Keepers. Their oath is to defend the Constitution. Well, the Oath Keepers in Missouri showed up in Ferguson during the race riots going on there, and ended up busting up Oath Keepers because the local people in Missouri said what these black mom and pop shop owners need because of the looting and the vandalism is they need the right to defend their own property, much like the South Central LA during the Rodney King riots, right?
So forth, right?
Koreans, yeah, and
famous pictures.
and so sure enough, they were trying to mentor these shopkeepers and business people on here's how you get your own gun, because it was just, what? We can have guns?
Seems democratic.
This is the problem, folks.
What was I thinking?
The black community largely is more alien to the idea of Second Amendment constitutional rights.
Right. Well, protections. Right?
Yeah.
Protections.
Yes.
Because our rights exist and they predate our government.
Right.
That was the founding philosophy that our founders codified by the Constitution.
Yeah.
And so there are protections there that unfortunately people don't realize are there.
Let's get out of this Jason Lowe story.
But let me finish. What happened
Okay.
with the Oath Keepers is the Missouri Oath Keepers split from the National Oath Keepers group because the national group said this is terrible for fundraising. The optics of that we're going to arm a bunch more black folk with guns. And that's a problem. If that's why I'm not part of Oath Keepers.
Live by optics, die by optics.
Yeah.
The bottom line here that I think is important about this Jason Lowe story is that the neighboring businesses, it's reported here on Sooner Politics, they expressed their displeasure with Tim Harper.
Yes,
They were in solidarity with the religious group that is neighboring their businesses there. And so while Jason Lowe may have been in the right, it seems like he was causing some.
Yeah, you mean Tim Harper?
Tim.
Yeah, Tim Harper. So
The big thing that we need to remember and keep pounding home is Jason Lowe has violated his oath of office.
the most amazing thing happens with the actions of God. You never know what's going to happen on 3D Politics Live. I'm Tom McKay, David Van, David Oldham. We were just finishing up a discussion about Jason Lowe's district and Tim Harper, and it got us into a discussion of gun rights.
But I want to say Jason Lowe prides himself in being called what's the highest honor in the black community, is that's being a civil rights leader. And he could be nothing further from civil rights.
Right, when he's fighting against your civil rights.
Absolutely.
And the civil rights of all of us.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Tell us about this story out of Florida.
Yeah, Florida, just this week, a couple of stories. Florida, there was a man, a husband, being beaten up on his front lawn, porch and front lawn. People trying to vandalize the home, break in, do a home invasion, and he's trying to defend the home, but he's doing it, unfortunately, barehanded.
Coming from the story here, New York Post. They came in heavily hooded and masked. The husband, Jeremy King, told Bay News 9, as soon as they had got the back door open, they had a pistol on me and was grabbing my 11-year-old daughter. The robbers then pistol whipped King and kicked him while the man's wife, who was 8 months pregnant, retreated to the bedroom. When he came toward the back door in her line of sight, she clipped him. King told the outlet, he made it from my back door to roughly 200 feet out the front ditch before the AR did its thing.
That's right.
A pregnant woman shot a beast that broke into his home.
Yes. And this is why we need our First Amendment rights.
And you know
our Second Amendment rights.
This is why we need all of the firearms. The AR-15 is a great women's gun.
Oh, yes.
It is. It doesn't have the kick of a 30-06, which, believe me, that's what I use. It's a beast, you know. But an AR-15 does it great. It still is lethal. It doesn't, blow your eardrums, from the sound. It's just a great gun.
Right here, before the guy was able to dial 911, he got a fractured eye socket, a fractured sinus cavity, and a concussion. After the thing was over, he had 20 stitches and 3 staples in his head.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know how much good dialing 911 would have done. I would have just said, honey, get the AR-15.
Here's to all the mama bears.
What was the other one out of Florida?
No, it's out of Colorado.
Oh, that's right.
A similar kind of a story. Man in the middle of the night trying to break into somebody's house. Nobody knows why or what for, but he was repeatedly warned that the man inside the house had a gun. And I don't remember if he was actually able to break through, if he was shot through the door.
12:44 a.m. right there, and the department suspect identified as 25-year-old Aaron Rivers attempting to break in through the front door. Homeowner told the suspect to leave several times, warning I had a gun. 25-year-old proceeded to break in. I just feel sorry for my neighbors over there. They're a nice couple. They have a little boy. Kathy Parsons, a neighbor across the street, told television station the guy started to beat down the front door, and I was afraid he had a gun ready for him to come through.
Yeah.
Yep. And, so here's a man protecting his wife and child.
Rivers was struck in the arm.
Yes, he was not killed, and so he will stand trial. But again, there's been no explanation as to why he was doing what he was doing. I look forward to seeing what might come from that.
Yeah.
Fox News, Colorado.
Yeah, I want to say this. A lot of you are now looking at the opportunity to bear arms. You don't have to pay for your classes, your license, and all of those things. So you can just spend that money on getting a decent personal protection weapon. There's something I've said in the past when we've talked about police issues and screw-ups like in Fort Worth. Who's training these people? Because in the time of crisis, you're going to instinctively go to your training.
Yes.
Where am I going with this? It's this point. If you've got a gun, but you've not put any training, any discipline, even if it's a YouTube video that you follow, I don't care what it is, get some training. Right. I've got a dear friend, Debbie and I, it's some years back, but she went through a horribly messy divorce with a very unstable ex-husband, and she was living several states away. Here in Tulsa, school teacher. A man comes into his house. We don't know, because nobody was found out, but they know that she was shot with her own gun. Because she retreated to her room to grab her gun, but she didn't have the nerve to pull the trigger.
Right.
And believe me, a thug, especially a hitman, is going to seize on that. And unfortunately, she's dead. Her little girl is an orphan.
Well, and 911 wouldn't help her either. Then.
Yeah.
No, nobody could have helped her. Seconds counted.
And again, you've got to know that if you're going to put your fingers around that grip, you're going to probably have to use it. You have to have that mindset.
Right.
So I'm just saying that there are people that are glad that you don't have to go through all the rigmarole. Still put yourself through your own rigmarole. Get with some friends for some training.
Well, let's talk about this, because liberty doesn't come without responsibility.
Absolutely.
And so we are responsible for the handling of that weapon. So if you choose to take up a weapon, although the requirements aren't up front, you don't have big bad government telling you no.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't mean that you aren't still responsible for everything that you put that weapon through.
Yeah, believe
me.
Yeah.
And so if you mishandle that weapon, you are fully responsible for it and deserve the full retribution of the law, because that's our protection against irresponsibility.
You heard it, Steve Kunzweiler. That came from David Oldham. He's so proud of you right now.
Well, no, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Steve's got it flipped on its head. He wants to criminalize, permission.
I know. But I'm glad you said that. I think it's very important to say.
It's vital for our society.
Okay, let's move back to a state story with the OK GOP. If you're just now tuning in, I'm Tom McKay, your host with 3D Politics Live. I've got David Van, SoonerPolitics.org, and David Oldham, ConstitutionalGrounds.com. And the OK GOP leaders, apparently David McClain and Mike Turner are just kissing and making up.
Oh, man.
I thought one of them would fight to the death, but apparently we're just going to, tango this thing down.
Yeah. As best I can tell right now, I have not heard a statement from officially from Turner or McClain, but they have both evidently rescinded the call for the other's resignation now. And have
even after this story.
Oh, yeah. I didn't put it in.
Can they do like rock, paper, scissors?
But no, there was a closed-door, very private meeting Friday night of the Budget Committee. And again, we've been waiting for most of this year saying, where's the budget, right? And so finally, they had a meeting. Did they have a budget? No, we still don't have a budget. But
it'll take a couple meetings.
But yeah, so here's what's going to happen. And again, I'm getting these from unofficial sources, but I trust people that were in the room. Sorry, I know you guys wanted to be private, but I'm good. I can get a story. So McClain is going to be asked to put together a proposal to the Budget Committee to be a working document to start with. And that document then will be arranged into what the Budget Committee is willing to approve. Then that will be passed on to the State Committee, which, as I've mentioned, I'm a part of. And the state
has to approve it.
Yeah, ultimately, the presiding State Committee of about 400 of us will then be called upon to approve that. Now, what we do know is that budget's going to be huge scale back. Right now, there is no payroll. Nobody's getting paid. Okay, that's number one. So Tom DeMont evidently is no longer the executive director. Don't know if he's part of the picture at all anymore.
Party at Tom's house.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, Tom has a residence in San Francisco area. So anyway, I believe his wife works out there. So I think that's going on. Let's see what else is going on. They raised just in pledges from the executive committee, which got together Saturday morning at the same place. They raised about $5,000 just from the leadership and the executive committee. So it looks like we're going to very much austerity. Austere, isn't it what they call it?
The austere host, Tom McKay. One of the things that's great here, Kevin Stitt showing great leadership presence is making the Tulsa County the distinction of the largest delegation. Hats off to John Roberts, who has helped navigate these duties. A.J. Ferrate, chairing a couple of meetings, stepping in, and Joe Beffer, who is stepping up, I guess, to be the whipping boy.
Joe's going to chair the budget committee. Joe's a banker from Bartlesville. You've probably seen him at First District conventions. Fine fella. And all these people, I'm telling you, it was just so sappy kumbaya.
Well, hats off
But,
to Joe
hey,
Beffer for
It's
stepping
like,
into a
it's
gap
not
there.
blood. It doesn't run.
Yeah. So anyway, so these are all good things, and it looks like, and I just relayed to some of the people on these key committees. I said, don't call a state committee until you've got a budget. There will be an uprising because we should have had a budget several months ago.
I don't know Joe Beffer, never met him. I just know that if he stepped up as the new budget committee chairman, he's a real man.
Yeah.
Taking that on.
Yeah.
That's okay. GOP leaders.
Yep.
From Sooner Politics.
So it's good to give a good report. Again, this is a tentative kumbaya here, and I hope it sticks, and I hope that we follow through. I need to see that budget committee getting back together very, very soon. I need to hear from McLean what's going to happen next. We need a roadmap. I really would like to hear McLean and Turner give a joint press release.
Let's do a rally at Veterans Park.
There we go.
I guess, again, Governor Stitt just knocking more home runs out of the park.
Yeah.
Over 500 commutations occurred this weekend. Over 400 affected immediately going free. Several hundreds leave Oklahoma prisons in justice reforms. Hit it.
Today.
Just today.
Yeah.
Today, it made Fox News as the largest single-day commutation of prisoners. Most of them, as Oldham would call, political
prisoners.
Nice.
That's exactly what they are,
Nice.
for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good. Now, again, it's not a pardon. These are people who have already served way more than what the current law says is the maximum we can sentence them for. So we didn't go soft on them, folks. Okay? And so there's that. There's now, I like what one of my young bloggers, a millennial, Ian Copeland, said, churches, this is your hour. Mm-hmm. And this is where the faith community does things the government cannot do, that, socialism cannot do. We need to embrace these families. We need to, folks, pastors out there, I need you to tell your congregations, hey, if you got a loved one who's leaving prison, slip a note in with the offering or whatever, and so that the pastoral staff can get with you, find out what your family needs, what your loved one's going to need, whether it's, maybe some employer in the congregation could use some work, and maybe, find a job that they can succeed at.
So look at this general move. This is, again, from Sooner Politics 11-2 this year. Oklahoma is not alone in this shift of view. The federal government is also releasing 3,000 inmates this week. Mm-hmm. Similar justice reform initiative, key part of President Trump's reform initiative.
Yeah.
So there we go. Continuing to be not the most horrible nation ever on the face of the earth.
And let's clarify. These are all people deemed to have committed non-violent crimes. Of course, we wouldn't call them crimes either. Some of them.
Some of them are non-violent, were crimes, but they're non-violent. But the vast majority of them, we can't lawfully call them crimes because no one was harmed. There's no crime involved except we didn't get nanny state's permission first.
Well, right.
I mean, that is never a crime in a free society.
Some of these are people that simply were medicating with an unapproved medicine that is now approved but wasn't approved when they consumed it.
And again, we're not a free society. Yeah. If you can know we're not a free society because there's a black market. Yeah. Because there is outlawry going on. Because there is all of this anarchy within all of this stuff. Yeah. You can know that we have a long ways to go to where our founders had the vision our founders had for us.
One of the great points that's made in the Sooner Politics piece is the idea that unemployment rates are so low. There are jobs available for these people that are coming out. If the job market was stacked and there was nothing to get, then you'd have another problem.
Here's the thing about these people coming out of prison. Now, mind you, many of them are going to come out with Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah. Because they've literally had their mind muddied with all the junk that's been pounded into them for all the time that they've been in prison, being told that they're a worthless criminal, that they have to obey and do things the certain way that others dictate to them. And it becomes very hard to live a free life, just like the old slaves.
Just to act normal.
And to act normal.
Right.
And so to come out and be able to just step out into a new job is going to take some work.
Right.
And these people come out and their rights are still violated. Now, mind you, they've been political prisoners. And if they're supposed felons, then they are not going to retain their rights to vote or carry a gun and be free members of society.
Right.
So there's a lot left that needs to be overcome by those around them to help get them over that hump of readjustment and back into society. And that's really where, if the churches aren't reaching out and helping minister that, then we have some major problems.
And just, I'm going to put this down to a very personal level. You and I both, all of us, need to have the same decency that Jake Elwood had. Remember the Blues Brothers? Remember the opening scene where Jake's outside?
Jake
That's
Elwood?
absolutely.
You're going to quote Jake Elwood?
Not,
You're on a mission from God?
No.
Yes, you are.
Elwood Blues, the brother of Jake Blues, okay? The Blues Brothers. So Elwood never forgot his brother and was there to meet him when he came outside the penitentiary.
Right.
And here's the thing, for Jake and for 400 and some Oklahomans today, to have somebody who's waiting for you, wanting you, looking for you, there's nothing worse than to come out and be homeless and nobody wants you to come.
Nobody
over.
will help you because you're flipping criminal.
If these 500 commutations could move into the faith-based communities, and there was a conduit from the faith-based communities into the workforce, then it could just be a conduit.
I'm saying faith-based community. Keep in mind, you could be part of an atheist group, and that's why it's community is what we need.
Right, a community
with accountability.
Well, and here's the thing: is that there are organizations that are rising up.
Yes.
To help people as they come out of prison, and that is fabulous. Help them find jobs despite their felony conviction, where they have places that they can go and without fear check the box.
This is what Obama was saying. Just because you've received a commutation and you're out of prison doesn't mean you can't be a good employee at your next job.
Did he say that?
I didn't say that.
Okay. See, you're sticking up for Obama. What's wrong with you?
You have me going for a second. I'm like, what?
You're my brother.
My only reaction to that Obama thing was it looked like he was on psychotropic, bobblehead drugs.
But yeah, so this is a good day, and this is a start.
Stuff.
They're saying that by year's end, we could have 2,000 moved out of prison.
We're headed in the right direction. Okay.
Yeah.
On to the flu victim that dies in jail on false DUI charges. Another story from Sooner Politics. Once again, if you're just tuning in, I'm Tom McKay, your amazing host. David Oldham, right here at 3D Politics Live every Monday at 7. Be sure and tune in. Tell us about this thing. Officer Buddy Sanders took in Mr. Hoppner, and he was complaining of sickness and suffered death in the hands of the officers.
Atoka County Sheriff.
Well, no, this was Kushka community just 20 miles away that arrested him, but took him to the Atoka County.
Right, so it's Tushka, Oklahoma.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I've talked with Stanley Glantz and Vic Regalado about this. When the sheriff gets someone who's detained from a municipal police, the sheriff has no say over whether or not he gets to release that person. Now the sheriff, once you're in, you're their responsibility as far as their health. In fact, Oldham, you and I were talking about a Supreme Court case on Eighth Amendment protections against cruel and unusual punishment, and they go so far. The Supreme Court says it was John Marshall, I think, who our Thurgood Marshall had said. Thurgood Marshall had said, that to withhold needed medical care is a form of cruel and unusual punishment.
Correct, and it is. In this particular case, it looks like ineptness.
Yeah, why don't you tell the story? What happened
Well,
here?
basically, he is driving down the road and gets pulled over, and he is not quite right in the head. It appears that he is dizzy. He stumbles as he gets out of the police cruiser at the hospital, where he has been taken for a blood draw so that they can get his blood and test for alcohol, which came back negative.
Yes.
But
came back negative when?
Before
or after?
I don't know how quickly. Probably after it was too late.
Yeah, an autopsy confirmed he had no impairing substance in his body except the deadly flu virus, which was left untreated.
He told the officer right after he stumbled. He said, "I had leukemia, and I'm really sick right now."
Right.
And the cop ignores that, goes inside. Now, they did not get him a doctor's examination. The cop goes in, says, "Need a blood draw." So all he got to see, from my understanding, is a lab tech, and then off to the jail. And at the jail, they did their cursory, entrance exam, except they didn't take his temperature.
Yeah, I mean, I think this story deserves looking into, and thankfully the Frontier is doing the yeoman's work on this.
Yeah,
and they are the ones that found it and exposed it. But the problem is that this man was arrested. I mean, I'm assuming he was weaving down the road or doing something.
The 911 call was from people saying, "Hey, this guy's weaving."
Okay.
Yeah, and so by the time they intercepted him, he was down in Kushka, down the road from Atoka.
And so the problem here is the assumption.
Yes.
I've weaved down the road. I was just exhausted and I shouldn't have been driving.
Sure.
So turned the car over to my wife, and we were back on the road. But the point is that I got pulled over in the meantime.
And this goes to the deal about training. Sometimes a cop can get overtrained in one scenario to where they just automatically just go to that. Oh, he's weaving. He's got to be drunk. In fact, they ask him again, "Hey, if you hadn't taken anything, then why are you staggering?"
I mean, I hate to really reach too far, but this is an argument against the fears of AI. It's supposedly the human that can notice these things where, hey, this guy's weaving because he's sick, not drunk. But we might as well have RoboCop. They're going to tell the difference anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, AI is programmed by humans. So if we are not looking at everything correctly, and if our law enforcement officers are there to enforce, and they're not there to be peace officers and make sure that people are safe and look out for everybody's interests, including people they pull over.
Yes.
I mean, in this case, it looked like from the video that about the only thing on Officer Buddy's mind was getting this guy arrested and figuring out that he had alcohol in him so he could make his bust. Yeah. That's what it appeared to me, because I didn't hear anything or any concern when he said, "I had a leukemia."
The cops, they hear every story all the time. The guy could say anything, and the cop is not going to, "Oh, really? Oh, you have a special situation?" Well, those guys are processing morons all night long.
Mm-hmm. Understood, but that doesn't change their responsibility.
Their responsibility is to be able to notice this guy. I mean, they say they can smell the alcohol. So apparently this guy didn't have any alcohol.
No, he didn't.
So they should have been able to know, hey, he's weaving for some other reason.
Well, here's the deal. Buddy Sanders is not a medical professional. The problem is the jail didn't even have any medical professionals on staff. They leave it to non-professionals to diagnose the need for professional diagnosis.
Right. Oh, and you got to think, this is Atoka.
Yeah.
This is a tiny little county.
Yeah.
It's probably got one of the smaller
And
jails.
Mr. Hutner shouldn't have been driving. He
Oh
was
yeah,
really,
well, and
he was really too ill to
It's
be
worse
traveling.
than that because he's semi-conscious and actually somewhat loses consciousness at times. They're still saying it was up to him to tell us all of the ailments he's dealing with.
Well, he's
Like
traveled to a country that has fungal infections and stuff like that.
Well, now he was traveling from Wisconsin to Texas.
That's a
okay?
fungal infection.
Yeah, so, but here's the thing, Buddy Sanders, yeah, your oath is to serve and protect. You have to understand the wayfarer coming through your community. You have a duty to protect him, not just the folks who cut your check.
Well, and it's really important because Hepner should not have been driving.
That's true.
He should
He
not have been
put
driving.
himself and everybody else in danger.
But here's the thing: what he did not deserve death.
That's true.
And that is the Eighth Amendment, the cruel and
We don't
unusual
know that
punishment.
he wouldn't have died driving down the road if he would have been pulled over.
We don't, but the point is, as soon as he is taken into custody,
Then they
he
own it.
loses.
That's
they
correct.
own it.
Now
yes.
they own it.
And
That's
so
correct.
the point
Here's the
is
thing.
that he's
Yeah.
no longer able to care for himself.
Now
He-
they own it.
Now they own it.
Now
Yes.
they own it.
He could not go to a Walgreens and say, "Hey, pharmacist, I'm dealing with this and this," and they give advice. It's all up to him until they take him in custody. Then it's up to them. And I want to say this, extended, as somebody who advocates for the mentally ill, to assume that somebody who's mentally ill is responsible for you to tell everybody else his diagnosis,
Right.
that's asinine.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And
Well, also, it is against his Fifth Amendment rights to remain silent. The point is the point is that but your
That's
Fourth
right,
Amendment
yeah.
your Fourth Amendment protection
I don't have
to
to say,
be secure in your person
Okay.
still remains.
Okay, so David, did they have any evidence on him other than just eyewitness of his driving? I don't think so.
I don't believe so. Maybe the police officer witnessed something, but again, it was just the erratic driving. That was it. Nothing
And
else.
that might have just been hearsay from a 911 call too. I don't know that he saw. Now he saw the man out of the car staggering. So yes, you can make a police powers decision that, buddy, I don't want you driving right now.
Right.
Let's get you somewhere. Whether you need a hotel or whether you need to
Let's
check
get you a
into
drink.
go to a clinic or something, we got to get you some help.
Right.
And really, now here's the other thing. I did a little research in social media. This Buddy Sanders, Charles Sanders, if I understand right, is the assistant police chief of Cuska. There might only be 2 officers there, And he says in his Facebook that he worked past tense for Kushka Police. So
Yes, he's no longer with them.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to do a little more research and find out. In fact, if our viewers can find out for us where he might be.
The last thing I want to say on this, because I've talked to police officers who've been through this, even if there's nothing else they could do, it grieves every decent human being.
Nobody
who puts
likes
on the
that,
ground.
of course.
It's hell on earth, and
Nobody
they have
likes
to live
that.
with it the
Doesn't
rest
feel
of their
good.
life.
That's right.
No, and I just want to say this because, cops don't always do it perfectly. And it eats them like you wouldn't believe. I talk to them. Okay,
So-
we try to help get them therapists so they can, work their way through this so that maybe they can resume their careers. It's that difficult for a law enforcement officer.
Hat tip, though, to Frontier News. They got an
Yes.
entire series, 17 known jailhouse deaths in Oklahoma this year. 6 of the 17 deaths occurred in Oklahoma County, Metro OKC, Tulsa County. No reported jailhouse deaths. So,
Right. And-
hat tip to Frontier News.
Now, Oklahoma County jail system, the deadliest jail in America for most of the last decade. So, and I don't know what their current status is, but it's a horrible, horrible jail system. I'm hoping we can help clean it up.
I
With
think
my
the
friends
numbers.
around
I
it.
think the numbers over 10 years was 222 deaths
Yeah.
in jails throughout Oklahoma, which is 22 a year. That's just too many.
See, and this was 17 in 9 months, so you figure there's going to be another 5 if they keep up this average. So that exceeds 20 again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
20 again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're just tuning in, I'm Tom McKay, your amazing host with 3D Politics, David Van, David Oldham. We got a couple more stories and court updates. Do we have something about a Kentucky that was tied into this flu victim?
Well, the real thing is that it's important to note that you have that corrections officers, whether they be jailers or prison officials, have responsibility over your life, and you lose a lot of virtually all of your rights. In Kentucky today, 2 corrections officers pled guilty to federal charges in the beating, of a handcuffed inmate, where they literally made up a story, an excuse to beat him, and then beat him, and then were later discovered, lost their jobs. One guy's 48 years old. He's been doing it for a while and should have known better. But anyway,
Well, this is the first time he got caught.
Yes.
well, that's my point. And I don't mean he should have known better than to get caught. I mean he should have known better
I know you did.
than to be doing any of that stuff. So there is corruption within the supposed good guys, and we owe it to, especially with all the political prisoners we have in prison, we have got to make sure that the corruption is rooted out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was that story.
The scooter story here in Tulsa.
Yeah.
They figured out that all their lockdown was going to also conflict with the current laws of riding a motorcycle already.
Or
So,
a bicycle.
Or even a bicycle. Damn you biped motorized scooters. So quick facts here from Fox 23 News. Motorized scooters are now legal in Tulsa. Lime scooters can be found in downtown Tulsa, Cherry Street, and Brookside. Scooters are allowed to be driven on the streets in Tulsa city limits only. Drivers must have a driver's license to use scooters. Anyone caught driving a scooter under the influence will be charged with a DUI. So tell us a little bit about.
Well, and let me clarify on that. A kid's got a motorized scooter and he's playing around in the neighborhood, his driveway, whatever. They're probably not going to enforce that. But if you're downtown business district,
I got videos for you though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and they don't report this in any of the stories, is that currently in Oklahoma, a 14-year-old can get a motorcycle license and drive the interdispersal loop at 55 miles an hour downtown.
It's arbitrary enforcement of law, baby.
At 14. But the point is, they're straining at a gnat, and they're just swallowing the camel on this. Now, I support the right of a 14-year-old to get a motorcycle license if he can pass the test, okay?
Well, we're going to have to talk about that because, again, as I keep repeatedly pointing out, licensure of all kinds by the state government is unconstitutional. It's illegal.
Fair point.
So the point is that 14-year-old, if he's going to be driving that motorcycle, just as we were talking about guns earlier, is responsible for knowing the rules and obeying the rules and staying within the limits, and his parents should be held responsible for letting him out if he's going out with their permission.
I think if that's the case, then he shouldn't be able to ride till he's able to enforce and be responsible for his own civil rights.
And nor should he have a gun, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean he can
I mean,
protect him.
human rights don't allow you to have a gun.
Well, what do you mean by what do you mean by being able to enforce his civil rights?
What I'm saying, if you're asking his parents to be responsible for him, then he shouldn't be allowed to be out there doing that anyway. Why is he allowed to go do something that he's not responsible for?
Why is he allowed to go play baseball down at the neighborhood park without his parents?
Oh, no. He is fully responsible. Fully responsible.
Okay.
I'm saying the parents also should be responsible.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you let a 12-year-old out in your car and they're just careening down off of cars as they go down the street, but you have allowed that, then the parent, you're responsible for that.
But if
kid,
that's true,
but
then,
that kid is also responsible.
Well, then I should also be free then to, if my 12-year-old can drive down the street without careening off stuff, I should be free to do that.
If it can be done, I mean,
If it can be done, that's right.
look, that's a farm community for you. And I've talked to numerous people.
Okay.
Let me tell you. I asked my dad, how many times did you have to take the test in order to get your driver's license? He said there was no test.
Yep.
In Minnesota in the 1940s, you just went over and gave your information and they gave you a license.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the reason they had that license is so that they could revoke it if you were a habitual drunk.
Right.
They could take it. So you had to have the license, but you didn't have to jump through hoops to get the license.
Well, yeah. The main thing was it was a means to be able to identify you and revoke your license.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that because it's backwards, by not having a license, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be in the system or
Yes.
whatever, then that all automatically makes you outlaw to the system. So you have to be subject to the system in order to be allowed, and that's the problem, because we are not subjects. We are
Let
superior.
me quote somebody who 6.5 years ago said to me at Quick Trip in East Tulsa, David Oldham here, said, a license is permission to do that which would otherwise
I don't remember what he said.
be illegal. Be illegal. And I went down to the Capitol and I told T.W. Shannon that, the Speaker of the House, because I was arguing that we should get rid of marriage license. And I said, well, who's the state to decide that it's their job to give permission to get married? And T.W. Shannon says, we don't give permission for people to get married. And I said, a license is permission to do that which would otherwise be illegal.
Boom.
And see, I got you.
I forgot I even said it.
He's wiser than he knows, people. Because I ate that up. That was an excellent discussion. We stood there for almost an hour.
Oh, I know. I think we made people upset.
Yeah. So anyway, here's my point is, but they gave that license free. Well, let me ask you this. Should you have to register to vote? Because they give those out free, but you can't vote.
How are you going to know if you're in the club if you don't register?
We stumped him!
Well, I don't claim to have all the answers. But the thing is that nowadays, because of the electronic stuff, it is more difficult. The main thing is it has to be something that is voluntary, and it has to be something that does not make us subject to our employees. We are the superiors, and the employees, although they're also of us, in their capacity as employees of all of us, cannot be rulers over us.
Yeah.
And so that's the key thing. And so I want to know what people would think about how to overcome these things, because I don't have all the answers.
Because getting a driver's license for my father, back in 1940s, was very similar to what registering to vote is today for me. Okay?
Right.
You have to go file and register in it, but they don't make you jump through hoops, and they didn't charge you money for it.
Right.
Yeah.
See, having an ID, here's the thing. Car registration, I would want that, because I want the state to have a record of my car.
Just like the title on your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
So nobody's squatting.
And
right?
it should be nothing more than a simple paper processing fee. It's
Yeah.
voluntary. If you can do it or not. Just like the trailer that you haul around behind your car or truck, that can be registered or not in the state of Oklahoma. Okay, there's no licensure for it here in the state.
Wow.
There is if you have a fifth wheel or something like that, because that's considered a vehicle.
Did not know that.
But I didn't have my or if it is, it's just once. But I didn't pay for it. In California, I had to get it licensed. But the thing is that I would want that, but it has to be voluntary.
Yeah.
So that's the key thing.
Yeah, so I'm just saying with those kinds of licenses, to me, that's how they got the camel's nose in the tent. Was the
Right.
simple. Oh yeah, we don't really charge anything. We just have need a way to revoke the town drunk from.
Well, remember that was the excuse. Remember,
Yeah.
these are the days of FDR where they were coming up with these schemes, and licensure was they always wanted it because they always wanted to be the rulers and be able to dictate the terms and on us subjects, and that's exactly what they got started by.
Speaking of schemes, we got a local scam called Improve Our Tulsa coming up
Whoa.
on November 12th. And I gotta say, just to remind you people, just in April of 2016, we just passed a brand new tax that hasn't even kicked in. Proposition 1, remember Proposition 1 from Vision 2025 is a permanent tax increase. Vision 2025, back in 2016, we voted, thanks to our wonderful mayor, G.T. Bynum, pressed this on us. It's a permanent tax increase. Now, it just so happens that it's a 62.5% permanent tax. Sales tax is going up in Tulsa by 62.5% starting on one day in 2021. July 1st, no phase in. Your sales tax is going to explode in 2021, the summer of 2021. But right now, they want you to vote for more money for Improve Our Streets. But the funny thing is that Councilor Bynum said on May 27th, 2016, quote, the reality is the third penny sales tax is almost entirely still a temporary tax. It will expire in a few years, unquote. Councilor Bynum's stale hubris delivers only the stench of arrogance to equivocate tax burden with the politician's spit and shine, nonsensical wordplay, quote, almost entirely, end quote, is an insult to all that understand. Is that an oxymoron? So worse is his ridiculous pretense that it will, quote, expire in a few years. I've worked with children for nearly 30 years. I can tell when they're lying. GT has never met a temporary tax he didn't keep. This idea that the temporary tax is going to somehow go away is a lie. And they always bring it back.
And here's my question: when do they start collecting? They start collecting next July.
July 1st, 2021, your taxes of sales go up 62.5%.
And when does
20 months?
So 20 months from now, how long are they going to be raised before the current or the latest one expires and supposed to drop back down?
2021, July 1st, 2021. 62.5% increase, no phasing period. On that day, your taxes go up permanently.
Permanently.
Okay, if you've never heard of the Brown Ordinance, the Brown Ordinance was the third penny sales tax that was set aside. I believe it goes all the way back to Inhofe, the mayor.
Yes.
Right.
And that third penny was set aside so that we didn't spend it on regular consumables like cops and fire and regular general bond issues.
Right.
Okay, the third penny was supposed to be money we set aside for special things that would be infrastructure, etc. But with Vision 2025, promoted by Dewey Bartlett and his young junior colleague and nephew, G.T. Bynum, now we've got 62.5%. Sales tax exploding in 2021, but we're not ready to quit asking for money. They want you to vote yes on November 12th for more money for streets.
Let me say something about what
It's insane.
I was here when Jim Inhofe was in the middle of that third penny sales tax projects. This is what gave us the Zinc Lake. It used to all be just barren, sandbars and everything. And stuff, and that was probably the most controversial thing he did. He actually wanted 3 low water dams, but he finally said, you know what, if I get 1 in, I'll be happy. He finished that whole project 6 months early, $60 million under budget. And then within a few months, he got defeated by, the Democrat, Terry Young. And then we had a flood, Memorial Day 1984. And Terry Young decided he would take all 62 million, because we put that money in the bank and raised another 2 million off of it, money markets. And he used all of it to buy up flooded houses and turn them into retention ponds. And there went that savings. And Terry Young, we couldn't get rid of him fast enough. He's a one-term mayor.
So I also, hats off to Zach Stoikoff from Tulsa World staff writer. Please look this up. This is important to everybody in Tulsa. It's an article, Zach Stoikoff, March 24th, 2013. The subhead was counselors believe splitting the issues would help voters. The original print headline, divided ballot, sales tax, streets. In this Zach Stoikoff World staff writer article from March 24, 2013, he gives a great memorandum of the way it has happened. May 22nd, 1979, they wanted your penny. October 7th, 1980, they wanted your penny. April 9th, 1985, they wanted your penny. October 6th, 87, they wanted your penny. December 4th, 1990, they wanted your penny. February 13th, 1996, they wanted your penny. May 8th, 2001, they wanted your penny. May 9th, 2006, they want your penny. November 4th, 2008, they want your penny. Friends, they want your penny again November 12th. And this idea that G.T. Bynum says it's almost entirely temporary. Bull crap. Yeah. You want every penny you can get. It's never going away. There's no such thing as a temporary tax.
Yeah, let me say this. The tax rates, if you vote for this, will remain this high.
Only after they increase the taxes to get them back up to where they were.
Right, but my point is, your taxes will go up by $2/3 billion due to this one tax. So to say your taxes won't go up, yes, they go up by $2/3 billion.
We have already pre-funded Tulsa with Proposition 1 from 2025. Yeah. We do not need more taxes for improve our Tulsa for more streets. We already spent the money and we're getting ready to get billed for it in July of 2021. You better listen up, boys and girls.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If they pave the roads, that's called road maintenance, and you cannot use a bond issue for capital improvements on repaving roads. So they wait till the roads are so shot that they have to rebuild the road, which they can then call capital improvements.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with the idea of Larry Moe and Curly running out there with the hot asphalt, packing it down, trying not to get hit by a car. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of, besides a stop sign in a merge area. It's like one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Don't ask me.
The vote's a week from tomorrow. I'm voting no. What do you vote? No.
I want you all to realize that many of the things that are on the ballot are actually unconstitutional, and we need to start fighting these things and keep them from coming to a vote. So, obviously, I'm a no.
He's a no. Okay.
Make America constitutional again. I think that's constitutional again. I think that's it, unless you want to do court updates.
I've got some quick court updates. Remember Spray Paint Lady over there in Oklahoma City last year? Hit the Democrat state headquarters and then some other organizations.
She sprayed something.
Yeah, swastikas.
Oh, no.
Well, folks, they were supposed to have a court date, but she's in medical evaluations, extended medical evaluations. And yes, it is psychiatric in nature. And so, it's a tough deal. And I have to say, I was helping, I had to bring somebody down for a psychiatric evaluation last fall. I'm waiting at this mental health facility that Family and Children's Service runs. And, black lady comes in there, and you could tell she was in there in acute mental health condition. And they're trying to get her to cooperatively get in. And I'm waiting in the waiting room. And all of a sudden she says, "Who's that man? He's staring at me. I hate white men. White men are evil. White men are mean." This is a black woman, Now, did I take offense? Did I call racism on her? No. This is a mentally ill woman.
Right.
Okay? Folks, the person who spray painted the headquarters was a mentally ill person. Okay? Let's get that straight. You guys want to make hay. You want to raise funds off of it. Talk about how racist. This is a mentally ill person, okay? Nice try. Next. All right. So they're withholding that one. She's still in the mental health facility. This month. There's going to be a court update the 16th. Going to the next one.
Court update 2.
Dean Davis.
Oh.
Dean is a winner so far.
Yo!
Coonsweiler. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just cheering you on. Go ahead.
You like Trump driving?
I don't know. I'm just cheering someone on. Go ahead.
It's alleged.
Yeah.
It's alleged.
So-
nothing's been proved.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Drug driving.
Coonsweiler, and we were having dinner with him a few weeks ago, and he
Yeah.
was like, oh, yeah, at that time, Coonsweiler was upset that he had his administrative hearing for whether his license should be revoked, and the cop never showed up. Coonsweiler was furious. The cop didn't show up, so Dean got to keep his license, and now Coonsweiler himself backed it down to misdemeanor. So his office is not technically on the line. I don't know how the leadership over in the legislature is going to react if he's found guilty of a misdemeanor. But the optics aren't good for leadership if you got guys who are, found guilty.
Well, it's going to be a misdemeanor, so it's probably not going to have anything to do with alcohol. So it would just be the erratic driving or something like that. So
right, and they have no evidence of any alcohol other than his admission that he did have a drink earlier.
That was what I had heard. So
and here's
if
the
that's
thing.
the case, I mean, it's like a drink earlier in the evening means nothing.
Right, I agree. And the other thing I want to say on that, you heard in the jailhouse phone calls that made the media. His girlfriend, said, "Oh, when did you eat last? Oh, this morning. Oh my God." Evidently, I don't know if it's a diabetic issue or blood sugar
It's his
issue.
wife.
Okay, at the
Can't wait till his
time it
girlfriend
wasn't
finds out.
identified that way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but anyway, well, significant other.
Breaking news.
Significant other, but anyway, a loving relationship. That's
Sure,
I'm
sure,
fine
sure.
with that. It's So anyway, the point here is, any signs or symptoms a cop may have seen may just have been to a blood sugar issue.
Sure.
So I don't know. So anyway,
No, it could be.
but if you got Thanksgiving week off and nothing better to do, on the 25th, Tulsa County Courthouse is his trial. So
Wow.
we have
Let's all go.
yeah. So we have that update, and another one going a little further back to leave you
Court
with this.
update 3.
Mary Hall was picking up her kids from the Cinemark Theater in East Tulsa.
Oh,
and
right.
saw a couple of guys beating up a young woman in the parking lot.
What'd she do to those guys?
She pulls a gun and said, "Leave her alone." And they first backed off, and they said, that's a fake gun.
Oh, no.
She fires in the air. Well, now all of a sudden they take off because they believe her. The problem is when the cops got
She's
there,
in trouble.
guess who got arrested?
Right.
Mary Hall,
Well,
the
for
hero.
saving the day.
She did endanger others. She misused her gun. That's why it's important to get
She
some
should
training.
have shot
Right.
one of the guys.
I don't think she necessarily even had cause for that. The point is that she didn't fire her gun, or she fired it. She did not do it in a safe manner by any
You
stretch.
shoot in the air. That's not safe.
No, especially where she was, 71st
That's
and
crazy.
the 169 at the
And that's a good
Cinemark
point.
there.
This is
Wildly
not
crowded.
This is not Dodge City where the bullet comes down 5 miles out under the sagebrush
It
range.
was all
You
Yeah.
might yet have
And so really, if you're
Houses
near
everywhere, really.
if you're near a median where there's a flower bed, some fine, shoot down into the flower bed.
That would be the only thing
Yeah.
you
And the
might have
warning
been able to.
shot. I mean, the warning
But
shot to
even
me is
that,
weak.
the point is that
If you're pulling the trigger on a gun,
You're-
if you are in a position where you think you can shoot a warning shot, you shouldn't have your gun out.
Here's what Bobby Cleveland got passed since this event happened while he was still in the legislature. If you shoot somebody in self-defense, you're cleared. If you shoot and miss, then you are recklessly endangering
There
the
you
public.
go. That's correct. And actually, that's correct.
Yes, and he got that changed to where you didn't automatically get hit with that. But let me say what happened to Mary Hall.
Because there's a lot of cops that would end up in prison.
Well,
Yes,
that's
exactly. Yeah, because they unload the whole clip,
Oftentimes,
Yeah.
they miss a lot.
So anyway, but here's my point in this. Mary Hall officially had pled guilty, but what had happened is they said, we can revisit this in a year. And sure enough, a year later, she petitioned, and the district attorney complied with vacating that guilty plea.
Okay.
And then the district attorney dropped the charges. Her entire record was expunged. As if she has no record.
Oh my.
So they basically told her, be clean for a year, and we'll pretend this didn't happen.
Okay.
And so that's court
Well,
update
so
number
now
3.
we know that they can pretend something didn't happen.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, yes.
Well, it is.
I mean,
it is-
really.
it is good to know that the screws aren't being put to an otherwise law-abiding citizen who made a mistake, grievous as it was, and that they're not going to rack her life and wreck her life forever.
We live in a world, we live in a police state where they can arbitrarily enforce laws anytime they want, and on this time they decided, you know what, we can forget it. That's all.
And this wasn't police doing this was actually
Whatever it
district
is,
attorney.
they can decide.
District attorney.
But when I went
Yeah.
to get my records at OKC, they told me about my car. We don't keep records back that far. Bull crap, you do.
Yeah.
You do too. If I was being pinned to the wall for some felony, you'd be like, look, here's the records.
Yep.
So don't tell me you don't keep the records. And then when you say, oh, we just can't wipe those records clean, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can clean it or wipe it down any way you want. Anything else, boys?
Nope. We're good.
3D Politics Live right here. I'm Tom McKay at Tom E. McKay on Twitter. David Van, SoonerPolitics.org. David Oldham, ConstitutionalGrounds.com. Catch us again in 1 week, Mondays at 7 p.m.
Have you hugged a prisoner today?